The Honda 50 is the most produced motor vehicle ever, and proves that yes, we can have nice things. Affordable, reliable, good-looking, and emotionally uplifting. I love my Honda 50, but that doesn't mean it's perfect. This is the top 5 things I don't like. And we're talking about the original C100 model made from 1958 to about 1965. And yes, there were other ones, the 102 and whatnot. Number 1. The C100 doesn't have an electrical regulator. So it depends on the battery and this selenium rectifier to keep the wide range of electrical potential that happens between idle and full throttle under control. So when you're revving, the light gets bright. And when you brake to a stop, I was gonna say your lights get dim, but that's only if your battery isn't good. So as it turns out, it's fine in that regard. But I will add that this bike is prone to killing batteries because it overcharges them. If you never use your headlight, it will just keep sending that extra electricity to the battery till it boils all the water out of it. And that's why the manual says you're supposed to check the battery levels every week, which is near impossible with a modern plastic battery case. They used to be made of glass, but it's still annoying, and there's no way I'm checking my battery every week. So what about absorbent glass matte batteries, you may say? If you can actually find one that fits, go for it, but they are more sensitive to overcharging, so it probably won't last as long, and you can ride this for years with a dead battery. Like, it's no problem. And you can even mod it to not require a battery. The battery basically buffers the electricity, whether it's dead or not, from blowing out your headlight or your tail light. As is, you can't do an LED headlight upgrade, at least one that is reliable, like it won't fail, because LEDs are very sensitive to voltage fluctuations. And same goes for switching from points to electronic ignition. You can buy those things, but I don't believe that on this bike, it is a good idea. Unless you are able to add a regulator, which I looked into it and decided I'm fine with the way it is. It's stock. That's the way things were. The headlight thing, it's not that big a deal. You think, oh yeah, these are really dim headlights. LED upgrades are really worthwhile. You're going so slow. I've never felt like it was an issue riding at night. Number 2, the automatic clutch. I said I liked it in the last video, but I also don't like it because it's kind of clunky. Either going from first, crossing neutral to second, or the other way. It's kind of like if you think of first gear on this thing as low range, that's a little easier way to think about it. The idea that you're usually starting in second, it's not like you're constantly shifting from first to second, trying to jump neutral. So the way this works is, if you're sitting still, you can shift into any gear and the wheel won't spin, except for a little friction grab if you have it on the stand. When you're moving, there are these speed windows, about 8 to 10 miles per hour when shifting from first to second. Really, that's your max speed, and about 18 to 23 miles per hour going from second to third. On the downshift, you generally want to be on the low range of that speed. If you're going too fast, I don't think it'll even let you shift. But if you're attacking a big hill, you might be inclined to push it to the edge so you don't lose momentum going up the hill. So as soon as you drop down to 23 miles per hour, you blip off the throttle and click down to second. It's like a release and click reflex. Really fast so you don't lose momentum, which if you do is the difference between going 20 miles per hour up a hill versus getting stuck at 10 miles per hour. And it's not like you can't make it up any hill in first gear. I mean, you can climb anything in first gear. It's just really, really slow. This is also 3-speed, and there are times where I would love to pop the clutch just to roll down a hill without any motor holding me back. That is like a motorcycle no-no to do that. But at the same time, if you don't have a gear that's high enough for you to really coast, hearing the engine all the time is, can be fatiguing to have to like constantly be giving it the gas. even going downhill. And number 3, it's a 3-speed. This thing only has 3 gears. Non-American models started to get 4 gears in the 80s, and the 4-speed 2019 American supercub, when they brought it back here, that was only the 125. All this time I thought there were some 50s over here, but that was never a thing. Take a look at Honda Japan's product listing and you will weep at the lack of variety we have. For street legal 50s, it's been the Metro and the Ruckus for the past 20 years. And it's unfortunate for the country as a whole, just the limited experiences we get to have in that regard. And yeah, so the 4th gear, just like kind of a cruising gear. The idea that since you don't have a clutch, that you kind of feel that desire to have a 4th gear more. But again, like, it is what it is. For the time period, I get why this is not a 4-speed. You gotta draw the line somewhere when you're making an economy vehicle. And at the same time, I'm tempted to make number 4 the allure of more power, but it's really not fair. It's 50 cc's. You can drive it without a motorcycle license most everywhere, and it doesn't require registration in most places. Nor should it. We could go off on a tangent about that. Number 4, heel shifter doesn't work. I said it in the 5 things I like video. The toe to heel shifter works more like a toe-to-toe shifter. At least for me, it's just not big enough or angled enough to be able to set it so that the heel can be high enough so as the toe isn't dipping down really low. And number 5, it's very hard to come up with 5 things I don't like about the original Honda 50 C100 1958 to 1965. Plastic front fender instead of metal. It's actually pretty good. I mean, you don't notice it and you don't gotta worry about rust. No turn signals on the American version. I mean, I've got hands and no clutch, so how necessary is it really? The condenser's a pain to replace. On most motorcycles, it's a thing you plug in, but this requires the soldering skills of a Jedi Master. I don't know. I'm reaching. It's hard to make a video like this without sounding nitpicky. If you don't like it, it's probably not meant for you. But really, who am I talking to? A bunch of British bikers from the 60s who don't get why people like Hondas? What do you think number 5 should be? I'm doing the call to action thing. I don't like doing calls to action, but I'm doing it. What do you not like about your Honda 50? Doesn't have to be the C100, can be the C50, can be the current Honda, like what's going on with the new ones. You hate those key fob things? Pros, cons, yada yada yada, you know, whatever.